I was the youngest of a large Irish Catholic family, just 12 years old when my parents retired and we moved from Queens to a retirement community in Central Florida. From the jalousie windows of our new home, I watched our retiree neighbors, all from the same indeterminate place called Up North, as they putted golf balls into cups, as they tended their lawns, and as they picked oranges off their trees. They were Lions and Kiwanis and Knights of Columbus, living in single-level cinder block houses slathered in stucco and whitewash. They wore matching vests and sang in groups, or wore matching fezzes and fundraised outside the supermarket. They canned kumquats, they quilted and crocheted, and they played cards and canasta and big Hammond organs that dominated their living rooms. This was not the best place to be 12. I was a teenage retiree, an isolated, badly dressed kid with fixed income parents who bought my clothes in an airless, musty thrift shop, patiently pawing through piles of pilled pastel plaid polyester polo shirts and the kinds of suits worn by the members of Lawrence Welk's orchestra. Dad fished out a pair of flared green perma-creased golf pants. He held them to my waist to check the length before adding them to the growing pile on the counter where an ancient pink-haired woman wrote a sales slip with a trembling hand. I didn't like wearing dead people's clothes, but I would have felt better about it if we'd been able to find clothes from a dead kid my own age. Because adolescent boys shouldn't ever be made to wear white patent leather shoes with a matching white belt, unless they're playing the glockenspiel in marching band. It was our nation's bicentennial year, and my voice and my body were changing. Though naturally curious about sex, I lived in a post-reproductive ghetto. I lived on a planet populated by old people in floppy sun hats, a place where elderly women rode giant tricycles with wide padded saddles and wire baskets the size of supermarket shopping carts. Posses of pedaling grandmas trailing bright orange safety pennants. In our new parish of Our Lady of the Lakes, I sang in a choir where the next youngest member had 50 years on me. I was a founding member of the church's tiny youth organization, and I volunteered to work the Games of Chance booth at the spring fair, renting 3 softballs for $1. That summer, under pressure, I also reluctantly consented to ride the Knights of Columbus bicentennial parade float in costume through the streets of my new old town. Our 200 Years of Progress float featured Christopher Columbus out front on the prow, those 3 iconic Spirit of 76 fife and drum guys in the middle, the one with the bloody rag tied around his head, and there was an astronaut bringing up the rear. By 13, I'd already hit 6 feet, and I was assigned the role of the drummer. My costume, a long black wool overcoat, knickers and hose, a black tri-cornered hat, and a chafing drum strap around my sweaty neck. In all of my short life, I'd never been so uncomfortable. An adolescent in a strange new land, I waved back at the elderly parade watchers lining the endless, blazing route, a blur of folding chairs, Instamatic cameras, and fleshy arms. To my 13-year-old eyes, these people all looked as if they might have been present at the founding of the Republic. It was July 4th in Central Florida. Stinging sweat trickled into my eyes and rolled down my back. Clad entirely in black, my body absorbed heat, while the astronaut standing just a few feet behind me, a handsome blonde man in mirrored shades and a white jumpsuit, reflected it. He appeared cool and comfortable as he waved to the crowds, but I feared the humiliation of passing out, perhaps even rolling off the float into the road. More than anything, I wanted to be invisible, which is a really hard thing to be when you're a 6-foot-tall 13-year-old in a costume on a parade float.